And we're back to another episode of the Fake Problems Podcast. How's it going, man?
So good.
Yeah? So good?
I'm so happy.
You sound, dude. You know what's funny? When my sister brought up that she had listened to the podcast accidentally, She said, you have a very good broadcasting voice.
Oh, I get that all the time.
Yeah. She was like, it's very steady and calm.
Yeah.
And it's a good juxtaposition to my ranting,
chaos.
Yeah, my madness.
Yeah.
So it kind of like brings it. We're ebony and ivory, essentially.
Wait,
Yin and yang.
which one's ebony?
Well, you're obviously super black, so.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now people are going to be able to identify you. It's fucked up.
Yeah. That's good feedback, though.
Yeah.
Is this working?
I think so. I think overall she had said that it was funny. But then again, for the people listening now, prior to jumping on here, my sister seemed to have listened to it and ran to an inappropriate part where I was divulging some potentially sexual escapades of
Those
my
are the
past.
juicy bits, though. That's what we like.
Yeah. They typically lie in those places, so you got to be careful, especially when family's listening. But anyway, on to the topics. Where are we going to start? Oh, global greening data. So I feel like the past couple shows we've started off with some darker topics. So why not talk about some positives in this rather...
In this bleak world we live in.
this extremely bleak first world country filled with opportunity.
I'm going to try to sound extra announcery now that you said that.
It's
going to go straight to my head.
Yeah, please
dude.
don't.
It's gonna
And how do you feel about that?
it's going to be way over the top.
Hey, man, you do what you got to do. I'm here for it.
Appreciate it.
So global greening data, I think for there's been this global warming, climate change. I feel like it's always, the information we're getting is always like, we're on the verge of total environmental collapse. I feel like that's every message since like 1970.
Yeah.
It's always like, in the next 5 years,
one more degree,
yep,
and we're all fucked.
and the whole ocean's dead. There's fire tornadoes all across the country. I feel like that's, since I've been a kid at least, it's always been the message of like, we're gonna die soon. Stop it.
Yeah.
And as I've gotten older, I've become a little bit skeptical about the degree of knowing our impact and what it's doing on the planet.
I think I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, which I think we have an impact for sure, but I think that people vastly overestimate. It's only from my lived experience, like what's gonna happen really soon.
To say if we hit this level of emissions or temperature rise or whatever, that like there's no returning. I don't think that's possible for us to know. For sure.
And also like I think we started recording weather data in 1850-ish. And so we have such a small set of data to go. We know how the planet's been warm and cold. We're just taking a guess off our limited experience on the planet. So I don't know. I could all be wrong. In 10 years, everything blows up and we fall into the sun and God opens his asshole or something. I don't fucking know.
That'd be crazy. That's how it ends.
God's asshole.
God's ass.
Well, I mean, it's got to be great if it's God's ass.
Probably. It's probably really clean.
Could be better than here.
Probably is.
Yeah. Well, look at that, climate scientists. Fuck you. God's ass wins. All right. Back to the point, though. I think with all this information, there's been this idea that as we produce more CO2, we're going to get to this place where there's more, as the world warms, that there will be more desert areas. More land will be more arid. There will be less fertile land. It'll be not livable. And over the past, I think, 50 years, the entire world has gotten 20% greener. And if you flip that data on its head and you say 20% of the world has become arid, that is like doomsday.
It's catastrophe.
Yeah. But then you think about it logically.
20% is huge.
Yeah.
So, sorry, over what period of time?
I think from like either 80s to now or 70s to now.
We've gotten 20% greener?
Yeah. So there's 20% more plant life on the planet.
So all that planting trees has worked.
Well, no. It's, if you follow the logic, I think it's that we are producing more CO2, plants consume CO2. That is how they live. They suck that in. They produce
So the
oxygen.
planet's just adjusting.
Correct. It's just it's truly just adjusting
as it has done for all the millennia.
I think there's this idea that as humans we can like better or best nature, and I feel like we get wrapped up in this idea that we might have an effect, but for the most part, if the world decides to like, I'm fucking done with this shit, it could just kill all of us. In terms of like natural disaster, killing everything.
Yellowstone blows up.
Yeah, that would end everything. It would like cover half of the Western. I think the Western Hemisphere.
All of U.S. would be gone.
Yeah, the sun would be covered.
Isn't that crazy? Years. Scientists are also like, it's long overdue to blow up.
Yeah, that's a very scary one.
You ever think about that just in the back of your mind?
I remember being told that in like middle school and being like, wait, what? Like we're just waiting for this thing to explode. Like,
yeah, and then they just move on.
Yeah, like, I guess the point is, what can you do?
Yeah.
It's like we can't spend time on that. Because
is there anything? Can we like try to
plug it up?
Yeah.
Just put a big butt plug in it. Make one the size of like a state.
God's butt plug.
Oh man, now we're talking.
Realistically, can we release some of the pressure, or would that not help? I don't know what the issue is. Like if it's the gas under there that would kill us.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how megavolcanoes exist and don't explode, and what caused them to explode. I know nothing about that topic.
Okay.
Like I don't know why
follow up.
Yeah, good follow up.
All right, I'm gonna write it down.
But like when a scientist goes, here's a dormant volcano. How are they identifying that? Are they like looking underground?
It's just some guy like that totally should have blown up by now.
Yeah, it's just looking at like a hill. Like that's a volcano right there.
Yeah.
But like, how do you figure that stuff out without, I guess, obvious like there's lava flowing out of somewhere? But do you just look at something, or do they have like scans that can see under the ground and see like massive pockets of magma?
I think they see the magma pockets.
Okay.
I think
talking like a true broadcaster.
Thank you for asking me, because I know this stuff.
Very informed on volcanoes.
I bet there's a bunch of pressure building up, and the pressure keeps going up. I bet they can measure pressure.
I see. That's probably a good assumption. But again, one of those things that I've only ever heard people be like, yeah, Yellowstone's going to blow up, and if it does, there'll be enough ash to cover like the Western Hemisphere and kill everybody. But
can we do anything about Yellowstone?
Because if it is truly a pressure problem, I think your idea or suggestion would be like, because couldn't you just poke holes
systematically?
Like make
alleviate that
a bunch of things around the area to get some of the pressure out.
So I'm wondering if it's more complicated. Like we don't want those gases coming out. That could mess up the environment.
True.
Like, is it purely just the violent explosion that would kill things, or
I've heard the ash.
Gases?
I've heard the ash is the biggest issue because there'll be so much.
That's what they say happened to the dinosaurs. They like blocked out the sun.
Yeah, so and then no plants continue to grow. It's like you don't have access to the sun.
And that is due to the violent explosion, I think.
Yes, yeah, because it throws all into the air. But also, I don't get like.
I'm gonna go to Yellowstone.
He's gonna blow up while you're there.
I'm gonna start asking people. Be like,
when's this happening?
Why is no one doing
running
this?
around?
Yeah.
What's going on? What's happening? Yeah, you just freak a bunch of tourists out.
Just people on hikes. Don't trust it.
It's gonna blow up. Yeah, who fucking knows? I mean, if it happens, I also don't. Here's part of me that doesn't understand this though. Say the ash comes out, it blows up. Why would it stay in the air for longer than like? Wouldn't it just gravity bring it down?
I think it's just so much ash. Like, think about the wildfires a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Literally, the whole sky was gray for a week.
True, but that's active burning, though. That's like continuous gaseous stuff, as opposed to like an explosion happens. I imagine that's.
I feel like things would keep burning for a while.
Sure. If it goes up in the air, it has to come down, I would think. But again, I might just be totally not understanding what's going on with the volcano stuff. But it is a scary thing. It would end life as we know it.
Yeah.
God, we started off with global green. Good. Now we're back to fucking dying.
Don't get too positive on me. We're all fucked.
Fuck.
All right, finish up your
global. Your dismissive hand wave. Do your global green thing. We'll get back to volcanoes. So 20% of the world's greener, suggesting that we're moving in the direction of more plant life, more fertile land, more things that are abundance of minerals and life, and more opportunities for us to spread into places that potentially were deserts before, as opposed to the opposite.
That's great news.
It is great news. I mean, that's for someone who's like in sub-Saharan Africa and some place near them starts getting green, that's life-changing.
Yeah.
So I was like, if that's, let's keep polluting. Bring more fossil fuels.
Keep making plastic.
Put
it in the ocean.
Not that. That's like the one we don't. It's like the one
Keep
that's not
coming.
Okay.
Greening data.
Hey, I did hear that. Remember, everyone talks about this like Texas-sized plastic island in the middle of where all the oceans converge. Apparently, it's like almost gone because there's been one company in Norway that's been like going there and cleaning up, but it's not even because of them. They went there one time and noticed that like big chunks were missing. They're starting to find this fungus that's just eating all of the plastic.
Oh,
Nature has adapted to eating plastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is the fungus a problem?
We'll find out. It could be really bad.
Yeah.
It could be something it could be like a Last of Us situation, like the HBO show, where like the fungus just ends up infecting humans.
Fungus plus plastic sounds deadly.
Yeah. But at the same time, hear me out. Plastic is just petroleum. It's a petroleum-based...
At the end of the day, it's organic.
It's literally just like, fossilized... Or not fossilized, but just, bones that have just like congealed into oil over long, long periods of time. So it is just something from the earth that maybe some fungus likes that specifically. It'd be more probable that that exists out there, and this fungus is like,
everything we have came from the earth, so I guess it makes sense that Earth would adapt.
Yeah.
The life would adapt.
And not a nuanced take, but that's always mind-blowing too, of like, we just like start with like a rock, and we're like, we're going to make a car eventually from what we have of different rocks. And eventually we'll have electricity between rocks, and you can do math.
Chicken nuggets.
That's a crazy one too.
Yeah.
But it's like how essentially computers are just electric rocks that can do math.
They're really fast rocks.
Yeah.
They're stupid
so
but fast.
That makes no sense at all. Yeah.
No, electricity's bullshit. The fact that exists.
No, that's a heavy take.
It's literally a cheat code for us. It makes no sense.
Which also, I never get this with the electricity thing where people go, electricity is better than combustion energy or like fossil fuels, but it
comes from that.
Yeah, like is it just that
that's a stupid person whoever said that.
But a lot of people say that. A lot of people go like electric is better, but it's like, well, what does it take to create the thing that needs electricity?
Electricity is not a raw resource.
Right. It's not like we find that in nature.
So if you get an electric car, you may or may not be helping the world. The take would be like you could then get it from a different energy source to power your car.
Got it.
But like probably not. I mean, definitely not now.
Yeah, like all of our power plants are fueled by fossil fuels that
they are
create into electricity.
Most of our energy is.
Yeah, that's where I never get this whole like.
And it actually is. It is worse if a fossil fuel was the original source that's powering your electric car.
Yeah.
It is worse because there's energy lost along the way during all those transitions.
Yeah.
There's inefficiencies introduced. So at that point, you would rather just burn gas.
Nice.
But it allows the avenue to eventually switch to different resources. So
true.
That's the pro of it. But most people don't think about that.
But yeah, and at the same time, I feel like the other, aside from like Iceland using like geothermal energy from like because they are on top of a volcano.
Yeah.
Speaking of volcanoes. It seems like all the ones we've tried don't really pan out as well. Not nearly as efficient. Or like,
nuclear's the best.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Unless it fucks up.
But the stigma behind it, I don't know when that's going to happen.
Speaking of, just watch that Chernobyl show.
So good.
Holy shit.
Did you watch the whole thing?
Yeah.
Dude, how about that guy melting in the hospital?
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
The guy who's like handling the reactor at the fucking site.
And I looked up tons of stuff as I was watching that. It's pretty accurate. A lot of the show.
I gotta imagine because they were like, I saw that show when it came out a while ago, and it's like, all I know about Chernobyl is that reactor fails, and Russia's just like trying to deny the whole thing essentially,
Pretty
like
much.
the government, and they just send in like firefighters and shit to like handle like a like reactors without anything on them.
Well, most of them did. I mean, you saw the show. Like even the main scientist couldn't believe it because it was a failure mode that no one had conceived of before. Yeah,
it's crazy, man. And then that event, and you could make the argument Fukushima in Japan. That those two incidents kind of made nuclear energy not a thing of our, like, everyone thinks that nuclear is extremely dangerous because of those two events, which they're
kind of is, but like, don't fuck up. That's
and you can make the argument that both those systems had a lot of extreme negligence. Like those guys being like, there's no way this is happening, as opposed to being like, oh shit, this is happening, we should take the proper protocol, which would have prevented a ton of the mess.
Well, it was malpractice by the operators, but also the government
they don't want anyone to know that they're fucking up.
I think it was some regulation. It was like the tips of the control rods were made of a material that was cheaper, but also incredibly reactive. So in this one super weird scenario, caused an explosion. Never should have happened.
Yeah. So, and, you know, I would put my money on it if you go and look at the incidents around fossil fuel extracting. You'd find
it's probably some stuff.
Some serious stuff. Where, like, explosions of fucking people doing fracking and all those kinds of things.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm sure that happens all the time. But it doesn't make a dead zone for miles.
For sure.
That, like, kills thousands of people.
Yeah, the radioactive part is definitely a uniqueness to it. But other than that, it's like solar doesn't seem that feasible. Wind, you always hear about them killing like so many birds and taking up so much land that it's not profitable by any means in terms of the energy it outputs. It's like, dude, just use fossil fuel to figure something that's better out. And then if we do figure something out, nuclear, if we're all on board, then let's do it. Let's not try to like shove it down our throats of like, we got to be like the electric one, like you just described, it feels like it's been somewhat of a lie. You're like, my car's electric. It's like, well, that was made using...
Somewhat, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the core of all of that is fossil fuel driven. So, anyway, gotten a little off topic.
Comes down to batteries.
It's all
very pro. If we get better batteries, we could move away from fossil fuels.
Yeah, and what
I don't know
makes that happen?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Because that's like that feels like there has to be a big innovation in battery science. Because it feels like there's no one. They're all around the similar range between like the Teslas and the Fords, and maybe Tesla does a little better, but no one's like, we got this new way to store energy that's mind blowing. And maybe it'll happen. I'm just dumb.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's hope that it can happen. I feel like scientists believe we could get to that point, but yeah, we're probably pretty far off. Yeah. Anyway, world's greener. Good news.
Yeah, good news. We'll end it on that one. That it's green, it's better, it's good. More plants. I have this. I don't know what this means, but this note says hallucinogenic strip, empty from perception. Oh. I think I was reading about some science, which I've done hallucinogens, so it makes sense. But they're looking at like what is actually going on when you're taking a psychedelic drug. And they think at the core of it is stripping away your perceptions, so your judgments, so that the trip feels so unique because you're looking at something for the first time. You're almost experiencing, not like you're wiping your memory, but your preconceived notions about certain things are just like taken away, and you're looking at life through that lens now of like, oh,
so it's like you're a baby discovering stuff.
Yeah. And so it allows you to restructure your brain in a way because you look at something as its true thing without any of the years of things built up.
Huh.
Yeah. And I can only speak from my experience. Very true in a sense.
The one thing I hear all the time is stuff starts breathing, like things start pulsating.
Definitely does. Yeah.
But there's no way that's not what you would see the first time you see something, right?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah, totally. But I think that's separate from like when you're tripping, you see that stuff is breathing. Like I'm aware it's like, oh, the drug creates some visual distortion.
Okay,
but
so it also does some weird stuff.
Yeah, but it's not like if I look at the table and it's breathing, I'm like, the table now breathes. It's just like you kind of go, oh, this is a visual hallucination. But the mindset, like, it depends how much you take. But if you're taking like a standard dose that's going to make you trip relatively hard, stuff will move around, but it's not going to be like, you wouldn't look at a table and go, that's not a table. You're still, it's just stuff is kind of moving.
Yeah.
And no, there's probably videos online you could look up that show exactly what it looks like, but it doesn't take like my judgment about things.
You still know what stuff is.
Yeah, my judgment doesn't get like twisted in terms of like it moving in that way, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But also that might be just my limited experience. It might be my opinion on I see those things. I'm like, oh yeah, this is just tripping.
I don't. I've never done it, so.
Well, next podcast.
Oh, that'd be fun.
We're gonna do a bunch. Yeah, it would be. Who knows what would happen then? Just either silence or madness.
I feel like we wouldn't say anything.
Yeah, just sitting here, just staring at a wall, be like, that table's breathing. All right, one person at a time to help change the world. I think that's a good goal. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to expand on that one.
Yeah, be good.
Yeah,
That's
I think being good and honest will get you so far in life. With the honesty one, the caveat being that the goodness, maybe kindness is the right word, but being those two things seems to do most of life well. Good and honest.
yeah, good's a pretty overarching term.
True. Yeah, and it's relative to some degree. So I just have it in my head like I don't know. You're not lying about stuff, and you're also trying to be kind. Maybe kind's a better word. Because I think about like if I have a child, all I want is for
What would you teach them?
Yeah, well, I'm more along the lines of like I'd want them to be a kind person. That's mostly what I'm concerned about. As long as they're a kind person, I mean, it would be great if they're not like they're not just
Not
doing
a pedophile?
nothing with their life.
Oh.
I mean, also yes, that would be a bonus.
Yeah.
But like as long as they're a nice person, I'd be like, this is great. I think I could be wrong. I could have a kid and be like, you got to be so much more.
But nice guys finish last.
That's bullshit. You make the argument that the opposite is true, and that those people have just like tried to make that message work. Or like all of the stuff around us has mostly been from like mutual nice interaction, from collaboration and cooperation, not someone.
All the stuff around us.
Yeah, I think about thinking about the early human. If we go off Darwin's theory of like survival of the fittest,
If you're an asshole, you will be ostracized.
yeah. So if you're
group.
going, the nice guys finish last. Is the opposite is kind of true. It's the
Right.
people who are nice to each other, mostly in masses, do way better than people being like, I must dominate the other.
Yeah, I think that's a good. It's probably true.
I appreciate it.
Philosophy. Be nice.
God, we're breaking new ground here. Set up your life to be able to tell the truth. I don't even know what that one means, really.
Got all the virtues today.
Yeah. I don't even know what that means. Set up your life to be able to tell the truth.
Were you tripping when you wrote these?
I don't think so. It's been quite a while. Is it like...
That sounds like don't lie, because then you don't have to keep lying.
Sure. Yeah, that would make the most sense out of that one. But that seems... Yeah. Okay. Well, on to the next thing. I don't know. We could talk about critical race theory. We could talk about a good scientist has to put wrong above being right. Oh, I did put something on the list that's at the bottom, but that I think it's worth talking about. That's pretty funny. That's very short, but I was out on a walk recently over by the lake near Summerfest grounds. And during this time when Summerfest is not happening, there's like a bunch of open parking lots that like there's no cars in. Actually, right by where you used to live. And I'm walking around and I have music on and I see just like 200 cops in one of these parking lots and they're all on bicycles. And there's a bunch of like orange cones and they're doing bicycle drills.
That's hilarious.
And a lot of them are out of shape. And the drills they're doing is like, say there's a 5-foot diameter circle of cones and that has like a lane in it. And they're just trying to turn sharply in a small circle. And at the time I'm walking, I'm already laughing because it looks so ridiculous. But as I'm walking up, the Cantina song from Star Wars comes on. The dun 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 dun, and I was fucking dying at these cops, just like these fat cops on bikes while that's playing. Like,
it's got to be one of the most disrespected professions. Just a fat cop on a bike.
It's up there for
just
sure.
Bike cops in general.
Yeah, but also I didn't realize that's like a I thought that I've never seen a bike cop in Milwaukee.
I haven't. I've seen them other places
For
not
sure.
here, though.
But they were training an entire, like, maybe multiple stations on how to be a bike cop. Maybe that's just part of it.
Do you think that was like a wake up call for them? Like, you guys are too out of shape. We're going to humiliate you in front of everyone.
All of the people? I mean, there was in shape people there, but most of them were just like,
okay.
your standard American looking person on a bike in a cop uniform and a helmet.
Yeah.
But man, it was, and it felt like I was walking in on a private thing because they had closed off.
You averted your eyes.
Yeah, because I mean, they all looked at me because they closed off the road that led to those parts. So like people couldn't drive that way, and I'm just this guy walking down this closed road.
You weren't meant to see this.
Like, you got to get out of here. We're putting you in Guantanamo. But yeah, it was truly hilarious. I wish I could see more of stuff like that. I wish I also had the balls to be like, just say something, anything.
Oh yeah, something like what? Something insulting.
I don't know if insulting, but just be like, so, is everybody doing this? Or are you guys going to start deploying bike cops in Milwaukee? Where's the location?
What if we start seeing a ton of them?
That'd be crazy.
It's a new program.
Like hundreds of bike cops.
Hit Milwaukee back on track.
Dude, why would unless you're on, like, you could easily outrun a bike cop. Bikes can only go so many places.
Oh, yeah, just like turn right.
Yeah, just like if you're in this situation, like in a neighborhood.
If you're in a chase, there's going to be a point where they have to get off their bike and chase you.
Yeah, and probably for most of the chase, they'd have to be off their bike. So that's why I don't understand like the advantage of having a bike. Is it just you can deploy more cops in areas?
I mean, patrolling is easier.
Yeah. Fuck. Well, there goes my whole thing. Oh well. Hierarchy is determined by play, not force. I don't want to talk about that. Some of these are too. There's a lot of heady ones on here today.
Let's talk about the scientist one.
Oh, good
I was
scientist.
interested in that one.
Has to put being wrong above being right.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you mean by that?
I think. I don't know. I think weirdly enough, I think of the Michael Jordan thing, where everyone always looks at him and they're like, he's probably made the most mistakes out of everyone. That's what makes him so great.
Michael Jordan?
Yeah, like he failed a million times in order to be like fucking up.
Oh,
but, he didn't make the high school basketball.
Like he trained so much.
Yes, and so
also the high school basketball thing's bullshit.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's the story is he didn't make the varsity team as a freshman.
Oh, I see.
He didn't get cut from any team.
All right, good to know.
Yeah,
but the point being, putting wrong above being right leads you to the truth, I think, as a scientist. Because you're willing to fail until you find something where the truth is staring
willing
you in the
to
face.
fail is, I think, the big one.
Yeah, as opposed to scientists who muddy data to make their conclusions, which happens. They just... academic circles.
I heard on a podcast.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Don't know if it's true or not, but there has been a study conducted on studies to show that most of them just end up like fulfilling the bias that the researcher came in with anyway.
Okay.
Which I feel like people have been saying for a while now. You can find a study to support anything, which I think is kind of true.
Yeah.
You can support whatever you want.
To a degree, yeah. To a degree,
for sure.
But that's an interesting because I've seen the study on studies that have conflicts of interest. So like, if say McDonald's funds a study on like the health effects of sausage McMuffins or whatever,
okay,
which has been done, you have a 8 times higher chance of the data being incorrect just from bias. So, and I think
that makes sense.
Yeah, but the point being also is that they're not always wrong. You can't have, right. And maybe not even unfortunately.
Well, but then you can't know like it could be right or wrong.
Well, here's the thing though: if you have any wherewithal in experimental design or statistics, you can go look at a study and find out real quick if they muddied the data because you have to report the statistics accurately.
Yeah.
So you can maybe move things around and say things in the abstract in the review and the discussion, but if you look at the methods, you can find out if it's like the McDonald's one. There's a good example out there where they went, eggs are, from the study they compiled, it's that eggs are good for you. And what they did is they took a sausage McMuffin and a sausage McMuffin without sausage but egg in that one. And there's way more saturated fat in the sausage McMuffin. They went, look, eggs have a lesser effect on your LDL.
That's just insane.
Yeah, but they don't say that in the abstract. They just go from the studies when you include egg in diet too, from the methods. And a lot of studies will do that. So, but again,
it's just pure malpractice. That's like...
Not technically, though. But here's the thing. Here's the silver line. If even an average person, if you go look at the methods and they go, well, the first diet is sausage McMuffin. The second diet is egg McMuffin. You go, oh, that's different. And there's no control group. So it doesn't take like too much.
Well, right. That's not even science at that point.
Well, McDonald's would argue against that.
I guess, yeah.
But
yeah, I get. That's why I'm weary of almost everything I hear, honestly.
Yeah, but there's good stuff out there. I mean, and if for the most part, you can make sense of most things. Like if you take someone, you make them eat double bacon cheeseburgers for every meal, they're probably gonna get heart disease. And like we know that smoking, if you smoke, you're way more likely to die from stroke, heart disease. Sure. Like there's certain things that I think there's been a lot
there's
of
big irrefutable things, that like no one's going to even try to overturn. But it's like the gray areas where people...
Yeah, and people try to do that, though. Like, people will advocate that, like, you should be, like, eating bacon every day is probably good for... Like, there was this whole thing, I remember growing up, and Time Magazine produced something that was like, butter and bacon's actually good for you now. And you can look at, like, every decade, they go back and forth, like, bacon and butter's bad. Bacon butter's good. And it's like, if you just look at like the biochemical situation of like saturated fat makes cholesterol, you're eating way more saturated fat. It's a processed red meat and it has tons of nitrates which are bad for your heart. It's like there's certain things that you can't deny. You might be able to throw shitty science at it, but if you do it, you'll find out.
Yeah.
But
So bringing it back to the failure piece.
Okay. So if a scientist is willing to fail and be wrong, I think that makes for good science, which I think you can find good scientists out there.
So basically unbiased. Like, I don't care what the result of this is. I just want to know the answer. That's the best type of scientist.
Yeah, and I would make the argument that it's really hard to be that person because think of being a scientist and like you have grant money, you have things.
If it's your career, you want to discover something.
Yeah, and you have things depending on you to make your claim work. That's kind of the fucked up part is that typically scientists aren't funding their own research.
Right.
So they have someone that's like, you better give us results that we want, regardless of if it's McDonald's or if it's a research institute or a university. And universities have their own bias. Same with research institutes. So it's like, out of it comes some good science, but there's an infinite land of bias out there. So there's good scientists. So
yeah. It's like, how do we get around that? You need the funding and the motivation to be pure.
I just don't think it can happen.
Like money incentivizes everyone.
Yeah, but mostly for good, I think. Well, it's a weird one. I think you get down, when you drill into this topic really to its base level, you look for this unbiased thing, but then you look at, it's all humans running it.
Yeah.
Like think if one person has biases and you multiply that times 10, times 100, and how many people are involved in a research study. It's like, dude, there's so much bias involved from a lot of different ends. And they put in certain controls to try to tease that out.
Can't you argue that sort of, like the more people involved, that kind of like eliminates bias? Because there's so much conflicting things. Like you need to average it out.
Yeah,
somehow.
I think there's a law as it gets massive. But if you have 100 scientists in a field that are working on a study.
And they'll work for a company.
Yeah, it's probably more likely they're going to be more aligned than not.
Yeah.
But if you open up to the general population, I'd side with you and be like, yeah, you're probably going to have an evening. Hence why we have a half Republican, half Democrat state typically, which is still mind-blowing that, like, regardless of party and what they stand for, that we would have a half and half split of anything at like 300 million people.
I think the party lines move, though.
Yeah.
To, like, I don't know.
Yeah. But people feel strongly one way or another to vote that direction and be like, I'm this half, and someone goes, I'm this half. but maybe it is just so blurred.
I think it just keeps adjusting to the general sentiment such that it finds a divide to where it's half and half.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know.
Yeah, fuck my point, I guess. All right. Let's find something else. Oh, I forgot to ask you if you had any follow-ups from last time, but I feel like it's been so long.
I've been slacking.
It's all good. How about, well, when you talk about critical race theory, when you talk about do black stoners exist, talk about the documentary on El Salvadorian prison, that's definitely not a happy topic. But.
Do black stoners exist?
Okay.
What prompted this?
Hear me out.
This sounds like a bit.
Yeah, I think I might have heard on a podcast, but I remember thinking of like growing up, I've, had a good amount of black friends, and I've never, and when they smoke a ton of weed, no one is ever referring to them as a stoner. It's always like, this is just part of black culture to some degree. And like, but like if a white guy smokes weed, they'll be like, fucking stoner.
Huh.
Right? I've never heard anyone be like that. That's the black stoner.
The furthest I would go with when someone says stoner, I think of a white dude. Mm-hmm. But there's totally black stoners, right?
Yeah, but I think
you're saying they don't get labeled that way.
Correct. I think that there's definitely black people who smoke tons of weed, but
we need Dom here. We should rehash this with Dom back.
But think of we should Snoop Dogg. No one's ever called him a stoner.
Whoa.
Wiz Khalifa. No one's ever called him a stoner, and their whole brand is weed.
Snoop Dogg is weed.
Yeah, but if you had and maybe it wouldn't happen with a white rapper, but I don't know. It's an interesting white people get the stoner one.
There is no white Snoop. I feel like Mac Miller was pretty.
Yeah, but he was also
weed.
sipping lean and shit like that.
Yeah.
But I think of Willie Nelson, but he's he was the white weed guy for a long, long time, but he wasn't a rapper. But no one was. I don't know if Willie.
Do people call him a stoner though?
I don't know. Probably. But I think of what is it? Doug Benson, the comedian. He's known for smoking so much weed. But that whole.
Is he a white dude?
Yeah. It's pretty funny. But yeah, I don't know. Just one of those things where it's certain cultures get almost like black weed culture seems like it's just part of it to some degree. Where this is starting to sound really racist.
I mean,
but it is not that it even matters one way or another. But it's just weird. Maybe it's just more. I don't know.
Let's do it for other races. Are there Indian stoners?
I don't think I've ever heard it applied to someone else, a white, stoner.
A Japanese stoner.
All right, on to critical race theory.
Yeah, get right into it. That was a good opening for critical race theory.
Yeah, it's a good little casual thing.
What's your take on critical race? That's a pretty hot topic.
I'm going to be totally honest. Total transparency. This is the first time being honest with you about anything.
Ooh.
Everything up until now.
Open up.
Lie. I didn't know what critical race... I've only heard the term... And people freaking out about it being in schools. Didn't know what it was even about.
Yeah.
And then I read into it. And it's, at least from what I wrote down here, every relationship is oppressed and oppressor. It's that there has always been a dominating race over somebody. And that has been the case across all of humanity. And that the group that has recently been oppressed, I guess that's just the take. Is that it is
sounds like just standard far left ideology.
Yeah, and I guess the counter of that, it would be it's a similar thing in economics when people talk about issues, and they assume that in a market, this is the wrong assumption, that it's a zero-sum game, meaning that when I say you're selling something and I go buy it from you, and there's an assumption from the left side that one side is winning that transaction. One side is getting one over the other.
You should tell Trump this.
Yeah, well, dude, Jesus Christ. Yeah, he needs a fucking lesson. Anyway. But that the assumption that it's not a win-win. And that both parties are and don't get me wrong, people can get scammed. But for the most part, parties approach and they go, this is the best deal for me. I want this right now.
Yeah.
Both parties. And the argument against this whole oppressor and oppressed, granted the slavery one is an extreme example, but for most of humanity, it's been the success of people doing better and better is through win-win relationships. It's through someone offering something and someone else offering. They go, okay, this is good. And most of humanity is that. Every once in a while you get, well, farther back you go, you get something like slavery, which is a terrible thing. But the critical race theory at its core is suggesting that every human relationship is oppressor and oppressed. Which is
every race relationship or like every human relationship?
Human relationship is that someone is dominating over the other. And there's levels. So the slave master one, extreme level, right? But then you can make the argument, at a company, I'm your boss. And I have, but I'm looking to dominate, not collaborate. That's the assumption everywhere in every relationship.
I mean, if that's what it is, that's crazy.
Yeah. Which
my boss, he's over me, but he also provides me a benefit by like I work under him. Yeah. We work together to make a company money, which leads to me making money.
Yeah. And that's, let's take it to the race level too. You can make the argument that more than not, again, the slavery example being it's almost like taking the critical race theory is taking the slavery relationship and extrapolating that upon every relationship between races, where slavery is a rarity in terms of human relationships across races, where most of it is cooperation and collaboration. America is one of the best examples of that. Of like, you go to New York or Chicago, there are so many different races interacting in market transactions and owning property and living amongst each other and relationships and friendships. So many layers of that. So if you apply critical race theory to that, you go, well, yeah, the white people in all those neighborhoods are oppressing all the Asian and the Italians and all those other people that are in those different pockets, when none of those people in Chicago would be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Like, no.
Yeah, like, that's not happening.
Yeah.
So, but I guess I get if they're trying to push that in schools. It's just such a dark picture to paint.
That's
for children.
My sister was a teacher, a grade school teacher, when this was kind of coming out. Like, I don't know, like 5 years ago-ish. And a big result was a lot of white kids were going home and being like, my teacher told me I was evil. Like, it was...
Yeah.
Like, it's... From what I heard, I'm sure this is an oversimplification, it felt like heavy white guilt.
Sure.
And be like, you should still feel bad for slavery.
Ooh. That's another fuck conversation.
Which, like... we can talk about it, but like for kids, that's tough.
Yeah, it falls in the same bucket for me as like the trans stuff. Where like, as adults, let's have a conversation. But a 5-year-old doesn't need to be talking about people's genders and changing sex. Like, let them be kids and be whatever. It'll be fine for the time being. If they have questions about things, answer them then. But don't like, before any questions are asked, be like, well. Here's how trans
drag
stuff.
Queen.
They're gonna read books to you. That stuff. I'm like, anytime we're like bring like, and you can make the argument trans stuff and drag stuff isn't implicitly sexual, but we're talking about the changing of sexes and fluidity of gender. So it's like, I just don't think young kids need to be learning about those things. If they're curious, answer questions. But if not, just let it be, and then it'll be fine. Anyway, to the point of critical race theory, though, it is the question you brought up of should people feel bad about slavery in this lifetime? It's an interesting question. Because like,
it is.
Because I hear the side, there's arguments on both sides of like, if you're a white person, and well, there's a lot of layers to this. Because like, if you look at the statistics around like slave owners in the South and what the reality of that situation was, it was just mostly the most rich people owned the most slaves by far. Most families didn't. And it's not like a poor family who had a single slave. Again, slavery is wrong. Putting that out there. It's not like generations later, 10 generations or 7, like someone would be benefiting from like somebody having that. Not saying the relationship wasn't wrong there, but as opposed to like my family comes from a long line of plantation, like owned hundreds of slaves.
Yeah, obvious benefit.
Yeah, I can see
wealth has been passed.
I can see one there, but just being white inherently, I think, is just a crazy thing to be like.
But the flip side, though, being black for sure, leg down. through the generations.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, not great. We might have to cut this, but this is potentially, I've heard this theory. Well, actually, this isn't a theory. This is how the history went down of the slaves that ended up in America were sold to us from black people in Africa.
Yeah.
They were like warring tribes that would have like, you know,
I know where you're going with this.
Slaves, and then they sold, and so if they don't come here, they just exist in that area, this is a terrible argument to make, but I think
slavery was a great benefit to all those black people.
Exactly. No. It's such there's always levels to it, but if you're not over here being slaves, you're prisoners of war slaves in Africa. And again, not saying it's right, but saying that like white men are responsible. It's like, well, yes, but
yes,
improv. But it's like it was also happening originally in Africa. So
yeah, we bought them from someone.
Right, dude. There's this. Well, there is.
Well, I guess did we capture any?
That was way more rare because it was the Danish who went over there and were like, "Oh, we'll buy these."
I don't like that I said we, but yeah. Anyway,
did you and I buy some slaves? But no, it is the high majority of slaves were purchased from Africans that had literally, because this would happen all the time in like, you ever seen the movie oh my god, Apocalypto?
No.
So in war it happens all the time. The farther you go back, you always have like a dominating force, a country, whatever you want to call it, tribe, and they would go kill a bunch of smaller tribes or countries and just take a bunch of prisoners. And then slavery was just selling your prisoners to other people, and that's how a lot of the world worked for a long time. It just so happened that the whole buying them in a separate continent and going to another continent was less common. So there's more of a jarring difference in terms of who
like
the slaves
slave
are.
boats too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, transportation is not going to be ideal either way. But it's just the difference between, because in that, if you say you just looked at Africa in that time, looked at the amount of slavery, it's just more monotone because it's just black people having black slaves that are typically prisoners of war. Same with like all of Eastern Europe. You used to have a lot of like the Slavic countries were used as slaves a lot of the time, but it was white people owning white people. And it's a bad thing, but this idea that generations separated from that most people should be responsible for it, I don't know if that's true. The issue though, to your point of black people did get a leg down, should there be some kind of...
That's like the reparations conversation.
Yeah, but then that gets tricky too, because then you involve you involve the government with orchestrating, extracting money from one group and giving it to the other.
Based on skin color too. Like everyone's situation is so unique. So like to just flat take from white people and give to black people is like that's a tough policy.
This country would be some bad things that would happen if that happened, I think. Because you got to remember that the majority of America is white people.
Right, yeah.
And if suddenly the government's like, we're going to give you a 20% tax on top of everything and give it to, regardless of where you come from, anything.
Yeah.
We're just going to take
white
your money.
White people in Appalachia just like, yo.
Like, people from Australia who came over here, like anything. And they're just like, yeah, we're just going to.
There's also tons of white immigrants here that like didn't have anything to do with slavery.
Nothing.
I don't know. Yeah, it's tough.
It's tough. And
I genuinely feel bad that it does seem that black people have had a leg down still from slavery. Yeah. That has just passed through I think it's getting better, which is good. Yeah. I think it's gotten way better, but it's still there, and that genuinely makes me sad.
Yeah,
but I don't know what to do about it.
You know, but I can only advocate for letting people be as free as possible. With slavery being the extreme, because through time, then, you know, I always bring it back to government stuff, but back to the eras of kings and queens and rulers and all these people, the freer people get, with America being one of the best examples of people breaking away from something and starting a free nation, then things change.
It should even out over time.
It should.
I think we're seeing it.
Absolutely.
Compared to 50, 100 years ago.
Oh my God, entirely. So the more you can just let people be free, and the more they will prosper naturally.
Yeah.
I think if we try to force people into doing better, the consequence is way worse. It might seem right in the moment to go, we got to move this money over to these people who, but I just don't think that's sustainable. I think, again, it's a classic like a government policy where they go, this is good right now, but the consequence might be that now you have an entire nation of white people that hate black people way more.
Right, that stirs up resentment.
Yeah.
That's going backwards.
And that literally, and that they don't even think about what happens in those situations of now 85% of America is really against black people, which that would be bad for the record.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let things be, man. Let people be free. It'll work itself out. People will find ways to be better to people. And for the most part, when people have their needs met, people are good to people. It's just what happens.
Yeah.
So the more we can have that happen, the more everyone just wants to be good. So, anyway, what time we at?
That was beautiful, man.
Thanks, man. We got 8 minutes left. Let's end on a somewhat of a positive note. If I can find something in here that's...
If I can sift through the drudgery that is this list.
Yeah. Festival Wooks Sugar Baby Guys. That's a pretty fun one.
You know what I learned the other day?
What?
Defibrillators don't restart your heart.
I saw it at the bottom. So what do they do?
All those medical shows, bullshit.
Then what do you mean? They use those in hospitals.
They do. So defibrillators are used for when you have
Atrial
AFib.
Okay.
So that's when your heart's like beating erratically. But like in shows, they show someone flatlining and then they pull out the defibrillator, shock them. That would not help anyone. The effect of a defibrillator is to stop your heart. So then your natural electrical signal takes over and like it resets it.
So I've been CPR certified for...
Oh, fuck.
For probably 12, because the personal trainer stuff, I've had to be certified every time when I retake my courses. Yeah. And the AED, which is just essentially shock panels, but in like a little thing, you put patches on people, is supposed to bring people back. And they teach that in the course, that if someone is not responding, you've tried CPR and they're not breathing, you're supposed to put those on and shock them back to life.
Okay.
So it'd be... In my head, you might be right, but they go out of their way to they say that that's way better than CPR.
Really?
Yeah, they say if you have an AED, default to using that. Because that's and you can look at the numbers too. Doing CPR, like the manual pump work and breath work, has like a 2% effective rate of bringing people back.
All right, so I saw this on Reddit.
Okay.
It was a thread. What's something that happens in movies that's complete bullshit? And that was the top answer.
Yeah.
Someone saying defibrillators don't restart your heart. So I think the specific case they're talking about is in shows when it's literally a flat line.
Okay.
And in that case, it probably wouldn't bring you back.
Gotcha.
But I think if you have some sort of electrical signal. I can't fucking say that. it would help.
And okay. It could make sense because in the CPR stuff, I'm not listening for their heartbeat. So you're looking for if they're breathing and if they're responsive. So it may very well be that it's more likely that their heart is still doing something.
Sure.
But the whole point of CPR is trying to get their heart moving again.
It's like manually pumping the blood.
Yeah, you're essentially you're doing what a heart does through whatever you're doing. And AED is supposed to like get it back there. But it could be. But CPR, they love that AED thing.
Yeah.
Quick story before we end, which I think is a funny thing. During COVID, when I had to do my CPR class, they for some reason didn't offer. They like offered some online ones, which I typically took, and then this time they didn't. So I had to go to like a Hyatt, like a local hotel, and like they rent out the space, and some guy comes there and teaches you CPR. And it was during COVID time, so all the restrictions are in place. So like everyone has to be 6 feet apart, so you're like spaced out in desks, and everyone's wearing masks. It's all very like high strung, and the instructor is this hilarious guy. He's just one of those guys that like could have been doing stand up or improv somewhere.
Just a legend.
Just a CPR teacher just ripping up there, and we're all dying. And it gets to the point where because you have to do an adult one and a child one, and it's literally like a baby doll, and he can't come give the things to us because of the spacing. So at one point, he is just football hucking these baby dolls. Like, and the room's huge. So, it's like maybe, I don't know, like 12 to 15 tables back. And then you see this guy just like literally quarterbacking children, just throwing them all the way back.
That's pure comedy, right?
It was so good. It was the best CPR class I've ever taken. But that one always sticks out to me. God, we need more of that.
We need more of that, one person at a time. Make the world a better place.
That's right.
Just hucking baby dolls.
Can't go wrong, man. But, all right. Wrap it on that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, till next time. Bye.